Thanks so much, Anthony. I decided to put on my NFT hat for you guys today, which is not usually part of my traditional outfit, but I was happy to do it. So it's a pleasure to meet everybody. My goal for the next 10 minutes is to give you a little bit of an education about the NFT market. It's an area where I'm super passionate. We've been super active, and it's something that I think is big. It's coming, and if nothing else, I'd love to persuade you and your organizations just to spend a little bit more time and get more engaged here. Let's start with a very basic introduction about what is an NFT. I think that in our audience, we may have different people with different levels of comfort or familiarity, and so it seems like a very easy place to begin. The acronym stands for non-fungible token. And the easiest way I think to understand that is to recognize that, say, on the blockchain, there's a Bitcoin that's a token. A fungible token is equivalent. What does that mean? One Bitcoin is similar to another Bitcoin. They can be equally interchanged. There is nothing different about it. The NF is what makes the NFT special, which means they are uneven. And I'll give an example. Imagine in the future, you're going to see a scenario where the deed to your house or the title to your car lives on the blockchain. In that example, in that instance, if you're at 101 Main Street and this is your deed to your house, I'm at 102 Main Street, our pieces of the blockchain, our tokens, are not equal or are uneven to each other. And functionally, that's kind of what an NF means: a piece, a token that is uneven or unequal to the other. And in terms of a history to understand kind of what brought us here, really the earliest examples of NFTs and what is, I think, being very popularized in the news is the art community. And so I'll take a moment and describe a little bit of what's happening there. Some of you may be familiar with something called CryptoPunks. And so CryptoPunks were kind of an early version of art on the internet. They were given away for free in 2017. They're this pixelated art, and there's only 10,000 of them. And so it's kind of created a bit of a movement with regards to scarcity, because each one is a little bit different. They're an NF, uneven. And as time has gone on, they've become more and more desirable. There was an auction earlier this year. 9 CryptoPunks were auctioned for 17 million, which was pretty earth-shattering. And today, the cheapest CryptoPunk is somewhere in the range of about 300,000. And so following CryptoPunks, another brand you may have heard a little bit about is something called the Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's become super popular as well. And over the last really 3 to 6 months, the art community, the collectible community, has given rise to what we might be seeing or hearing about in the news of the excitement about NFTs. Another big one is NBA Top Shot, which are NBA kind of collectible moments. Just to give you a sense of scale here, there's a brand called OpenC, which is like the eBay for NFTs. They were selling, which was a record at the time, something in the range of 50 to 100 million in June. In July, they sold 350 million total for the month. And in August, that went up to 3.5 billion. So far in September, there's sold. And so we're looking at something like in the next 90 days, more than $10 billion worth of NFTs transacted and sold. And so this isn't exactly a passing fad. This isn't, this kind of come and go. This is an industry, and this is a movement that's here to stay. And again, in the moment, we're seeing a lot at a consumer level, a lot from an art and a collectible level. But what I want to shift to next is to talk a little bit be done and why is this so significant from a corporate perspective. And to me, I think what the blockchain enables you to do, certainly cryptocurrencies and NFT, is unleash new business models. I'm going to give an example. It's a simple example, but I think it opens up some pathways for conversation. Imagine there's a ski mountain and it has its annual pass, and as opposed to delivering it in the traditional form, deliver it as an NFT. And so whatever the math is, for $1,000 for the season, I'm going to buy this season pass. Midway through the season, I decide I'm no longer interested or able to continue, and perhaps I sell it midway for 500 to somebody else. If we slow down and unpack what just happened there, we actually created an important triple win, and I think this begins to show the promise and the opportunity. The first is, after purchasing something that I no longer wanted, I was able to monetize the remaining inventory. The second is a new buyer came along who was able to purchase something at a discount for what was remaining, in this example, on the ski pass. And last but not least, the ski mountain is able to, if it wishes, set royalties associated with every NFT sale in perpetuity. In this hypothetical example, maybe they earn 10% of the sale of the ski pass. And if we pause for a second, that silly or small example is going to start to revolutionize something that's already begun, which is that in the future, most sporting tickets will absolutely 100% be on the blockchain and be transferred via NFTs. Mark Cuban and the Dallas Mavericks have already pioneered that. And the main reason is there's a security, there's a certainty. You can look on the blockchain and confirm the authenticity of an item, that it's genuine, that it's real, that it'll be honored by the ski mountain, by the Dallas Mavericks, whoever. And equally important, they can earn a commission or a royalty on that. And no surprise, a lot of brands and a lot of businesses are interested in having that opportunity in perpetuity to always be able to claim, which means not only the first sale, the second, the third, the fourth sale, as that continues onward, a lot of opportunities for the creator to capture some of the economic gains. Another opportunity within all this will be tied to rights and rights management. For our friends that are in the content industry or in the audio or video industry, you're going to see absolute explosion of new business models tied to the ability to not only issue rights, but also in the future fractionalize those rights or rent those rights. And so in the ski example, maybe I want to rent it to someone for the weekend, but you can also sell 10% of the royalties of the future of a record label or of a movie or of a piece of art. And so if we kind of pause for a second about some of those business models and now take an even further step back, looking at an enterprise scale, you're going to start to see at the blockchain a whole lot of NFTs as they factor into things like supply chain. You're going to be able to track, fair coffee or free conflict-free diamonds as they move through various checkpoints. If we look at compliance, if we look at medical records, absolutely entertainment, fandom, how brands and consumers engage and connect with each other. If we think about the coupon and discounts and loyalty, all of these are going to be exciting new business models where people are going to be able to better transact, better engage, better connect. It is very likely that it'll start at a consumer level, which it already has. It'll trickle down to business to consumer, B2C, and it'll wind up at a B2B level. But really, the reason that there's an advantage here is tied to the underlying technology of smart contracts. And smart contracts enable you to do a couple things. They're decentralized, they're autonomous, they're secure, and in many instances, they disintermediate. And a lot of businesses, to some degree, serve in a trusted capacity to intermediate. Part of the allure of the blockchain is the ability to disintermediate. And I would say traditionally, there's been several limitations to adoption. One of them is primarily around something called gas, which for lack of better terms, the commission. Ethereum tends to be the major transactional network. Gas has been a bit high recently. We can talk about why. There's some reasons in the future it'll be cheaper. There's competing blockchains that are going to essentially make it gas less, meaning free to transact. And so the cost of doing business on the blockchain, I think, is easy to imagine will go down to near zero. And so I think we can kind of get through that one. In terms of security, I'd say traditionally there's been certain also concerns or limitations. I would advocate for those are solvable problems. Personally, I think the biggest limitation is perception. I think that your boards, your employees, your consumers haven't been willing or haven't been as interested in transacting. I would say that 2021 is the year where that has changed and that has shifted. Going forward, you're going to see an absolute explosion in the number and frequency of interactions on the blockchain. I'm imagining many of your corporate venture arms, corporate technology arms, corporate innovation arms, new product development arms, marketing arms, already thinking and talking about how you can take your brand and move it onto the blockchain, very likely starting with some version of an NFT. And I think it's going to be just a super exciting future. In terms of some quick next steps, myself and Landmark and our team, we've been very active and very engaged. If anybody's interested, feel free to reach out to myself or Anthony if you're looking for a little bit of consulting help. If you want to just talk about market opportunities, we have a technology component to what we're doing, which enables us and any of our partners to issue NFTs. And so we're able to support from a technology perspective, but really where I think we could potentially be of service is to really just have a brainstorm session about what are the marketing, what are the business models, what are the strategies. And we've already been doing that for a number of brands in sports and in the nonprofit and social impact sector. I'll leave you with one last observation from my side. For me, where the space is today feels like 1995 internet. I've never been involved with something that I'm so passionate about, so excited about, such a big opportunity. It's early, it's messy, it's ugly. I'm not promising that any one decision you're going to make is the right decision, but if we zoom out and say, in terms of the future, looking at the volume and velocity of transactions, looking at the comfort and expectation of your consumers and the brands around you, will there be more transaction? Will there be more engagement in 3 to 5 years? to me, it's not a factor of like 1,000x or 10,000x. I think we're looking at 100,000x, if not a million x more. And our recommendation for the corporations out there is, if you don't already have a playbook, begin to think about what kind of disruption is coming and how you can be a part of that. Thank you guys again so much. It's been a pleasure to chat. And like I said, feel free to reach out to Anthony or myself if anyone is interested in learning more and discussing further.